The single biggest lie that YouTube content creators are being told right now is that their thumbnails are the reason people are clicking on their videos. And today I'm going to give you not only an explanation of why I stand by that statement, but tools to better help you better understand packaging. Packaging, the ability to build something and put topic, title, thumbnail, build it in a way and package it in a way that people will be compelled to click on it and watch your videos and get excited about the conversations you're having. And there are some really cool free tools that are available to you right now that you can start using this minute to actually help you do things like improve your titles or thinking about elevating those titles to a level where they can start connecting with the people you're trying to reach in a way that they haven't before. And that's something that I think is often overlooked by creators. So let's dive right in. Welcome to the show today. We're here on the StreamYard channel, and I'm excited to be here by myself. Usually I'm here with Dean Inman, but here I'm a solo artist today. Dee was holding down the fort with his brother Nick earlier today, and here I am by myself. I wanted to talk to you about something that I don't think gets talked about enough, and it's really about understanding how to get your content to reach and connect with the people that you're trying to connect with on a weekly basis. And I don't just mean videos. One of the things we have to understand is, I'm an old timer. I've been on this platform for a while. It's been a while here. And when I started, live streams were a new thing. That was like a new feature that came to YouTube. But we have long form content, what we call VODs, videos on demand. And we have live stream features. Obviously, you guys, anyone in the StreamYard community has embraced and understand how live streaming can really help you grow your channel and your community. But we're seeing things like shorts now introduced onto the platform and community tab posts. And these are things that don't necessarily have the benefit of thumbnails to get them to connect with the very people you're trying to reach. So the ability to understand how to build a compelling title or headline for these other things is really, really important to making sure that you're growing your content in an organic way that connects with the people you're trying to reach. So first of all, I have to say, everybody who's here today, much appreciate all of the wonderful faces that I recognize right off the bat. Obviously, our always wonderful chat moderators, Chantel, Megan. Great to see you guys here. Thank you for all the hard work you do. Got to say hi to the Creator Classroom. We do need a hashtag We Want D. Yeah, I'm not arguing with that. Anybody, if you do miss, right now it's a weird thing. We're dealing with contract negotiations, and I have one and Dee doesn't. So we're trying to make sure the show can come back in the future months. So if you do miss Dean Inman, do not be afraid to reach out to StreamYard and say, hey, make sure you guys bring Dee back and have him on for this year, because we love him as a influencer on the channel. I think he's one of the best in the industry, and I love working with him. So we have to make sure that he's all signed up and can do the thing. New ownership changes things around. OG, absolutely. Titles like a book. You said it perfectly. One of the things I work with my coaching clients, and I have a very broad range of coaching clients, is when I'm trying to explain the idea of why titles are important. The example I always give is, now I'm a little older. I don't know if you've noticed by the gray hairs and the wrinkles, if that didn't give it away. But one of the things I always talk about is, if you've ever been into a doctor's office or a dentist's office and they bring you in and they say like, hey, come on in, Mr. Batal, the doctor will be with you momentarily. And they lie right to your face. They put you in a waiting room, and the doctor or dentist may not be there for hours. They make you feel like you're on time for your appointment, but then they make you sit in a room. But in my experience over the years, we all have cell phones now, right? We can just sit on our cell phones and read and catch up with stuff. But before there were cell phones, they used to put magazines, and they still do, in these offices, these waiting rooms, while you're waiting for the doctor or the dentist to see you. And for anyone who's ever flipped through a magazine, If you've ever flipped through a magazine, am I alone? I got to ask the question. Has anyone ever sat in a waiting room where they have magazines like laid out on a desk that you can pick up and read? If you have, give me a thumbs up. If I'm an old man and you go like, I don't know what you're talking about, give me a thumbs down. I could take it either way. I'm tough like that. But I know that I've been here. I want to see who else has had this experience. Sitting in that waiting room, you're looking at all these magazines, right? And when you have to pick a magazine, for me, it's always, that's like the idea of topic, right? Like I might have a bunch of magazines in front of me, and one might be like Women's Daily, right? It could be Popular Mechanics. It could be any kind of magazine that is something good. I'm not completely alone here. I have a lot of people like laughing, going, yes, I've been there. Thumbs up. I've been in the waiting room. They still have magazines, Daniel. You're not alone. Excellent. Good. Well, they have magazines. And what you want to think about is YouTube is not unlike sitting in a waiting room at a dentist's office or a doctor's office. When you are looking at those magazines, it's not any different than the way that YouTube serves videos out. They serve a variety of videos to serve the viewer's needs, what it thinks it knows about that viewer and their interests in that moment. So if you were sitting in a doctor's office or a dentist's office and you had a bunch of magazines in front of you, you might choose a different one than I am based on topic, right? Like if there's Women's Day, I'm probably not going to read that because I'm a guy. I have hair like a woman, but I'm a guy. But if it has something that talks about maybe music or instruments or hot rods, if it talks about, Harley Davidsons, late 60s muscle cars, I'll probably pick up that magazine. But I have to ask you, for anyone who's ever picked up a magazine and you started opening it, I guarantee none of you read that like a book. I might be wrong, but I don't know anyone who opens up a magazine and goes, oh, page 1, let me read it top to bottom, and then go to page 2 and read it top to bottom. You don't. Most people who have ever read a magazine, they flip through it. They're looking for that thing to capture their attention. And that is not much different than YouTube. Now, when you flip through a magazine, I want you to ask yourself seriously, what makes you stop on the article that's on page 30, as opposed to the one that was on page 15? What makes you do that? I guarantee there are two things, the headline and the picture that goes with it. And it's a combination of the two. And it's never just one. It's how those two things work together. You flip through the magazine, you see an awesome picture, and you hear it, you read the headline, and you go, oh, well, maybe this is a magazine, in my experience, you're going to have to work with me. Maybe it's about American muscle cars, right? And maybe the picture is of this great late 60s, refurbished Mustang. And then the title says like this one-of-a-kind 1966 two-door Mustang coupe was found in a barn after, 30 years of neglect, right? And it's the title that you go, oh my gosh, what that was the year of that car? Where it was found in a barn? Who owned it? Like who put that thing in a barn and left it there? And they pull it out and dust it off and it's beautiful. It's always the title working with the thumbnail that makes for the entire package. And when you start understanding that it's not just the thumbnail, it's that great title, that great headline that stops people in their tracks, that's when you can start owning a superpower that a lot of creators are overlooking, and you can start winning on YouTube in a way that other people are overlooking, all right? They're not paying attention to. They're not building great titles that are really optimized for the viewer. And there are some great free tools out there that actually can help you. A lot of you guys have been hearing about AI, right? The advent of AI. Well, AI is out there, and listen, I have a pro level license for OpenAI.com, and I pay for that, and not everybody has the ability to pay for all of these features every single day. But there's a lot of great tools that are integrating AI and can help you do things on a level that doesn't cost you anything, that can really start leveling up your game right now, like leveling up the titling of your live streams and leveling up the titles of your VODs, your videos on demand, your YouTube videos, or leveling up the title of your shorts where we don't have the ability to have really great custom thumbnails yet. So you really want your titles to be on point because it's going to be presented to people in a way that if they don't just see it in the short shelf, they may see it in browse or in search. And you want to make sure that these things are really built for the viewer to really get compelled to want to click and build on their curiosity. Okay, so actual intelligence. I love that. Actual intelligence? Yeah, exactly, Anthony. AI is artificial intelligence. There's actual intelligence out there somewhere, but we'll see if we can find it. So listen, there's two tools I want to talk to you about today. Let me pull up a share screen here. Right over there. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. One of these tools, let me add this up here. One of these tools is actually called the Headline Co-Scheduler. And I have links to these in the description of this live stream, so you don't have to freak out trying to like capture this right now. You can come back later on, click on those links and go check these out. Okay, I want to make sure everything I talk about is available to you, and I'll make sure I'll give you the resources. And as always, if you have any questions along the way, ask them here in the chat. I'm going to be pulling some of you up and helping you actually build some of your titles for your next YouTube video, right? Let's do it live here. But I'm also going to make sure that all of these assets are available to you so you can find them nice and easy. So these are all down below. Don't freak out. The one that I love, it's actually was built as a headline analyzer, which is why I wanted to talk to you about the idea of a magazine. It wasn't originally built as a YouTube title analyzer. And it was designed to help people who were building like blog posts or magazine articles to do the very thing that we talked about. How do you build that really compelling headline? But in this case, title, right? Titles. And it does some really cool things. The other tool we're going to be looking at today is by a company called TubeSpanner, which is has a website. And both of these tools not only have websites, but they're browser extensions, meaning if you use something like Chrome by Google, which is the browser I use, you can add them in. So not only can you go to the website to use them, but if you are in YouTube and you are uploading a video and you're going through that process that we've all seen where it's like, oh, well, I need to do this thing. It's like, it says I have to put a title in when I'm on the details page of my video that I've uploaded. I need to add a title. Well, you'll see I'm a little cluttered right here because I actually have two tools running at once. The purple one is TubeSpanner, helping with title inspiration, and that sort of blue recycle circle is the Headline Co-Scheduler that allows you to analyze, and it gives you some tips on it gives you almost like a score of what your title looks like and what you might want to think about to improve that. So these are going to be right inside of, I love these tools for that reason. These two tools I picked today, specifically because I like the idea of when you're doing the thing that we feel is natural to us. We build a video, we upload it to YouTube, and we're working on our titles and stuff, and we want to make sure our titles are on point. We do it inside of YouTube, right? Because we're about to upload or publish a video, we do it inside of YouTube. Now, I do have to have one conversation with you quickly. The caveat being that I honestly think it's much better to develop an idea of what your title might be or what your thumbnail might be before you film, before you actually make your video. The reason being is if you just make a video and then afterwards try to decide what the title should be, what the thumbnail should be, it's a bit like it's a bit like if you were a tailor and you made a suit, right? And you just built a suit. You sat and you crafted this, sewed up this beautiful suit, and then you had to go find someone that fit it perfectly. That would be hard. But if you had a person and you said, come on in, I want to build a suit, I want to take your measurements and I want to build this precisely for you, you're going to have a much better chance of that really fitting that person that you're building it for. So I'm a big fan of trying to build things beforehand, and you can use these tools through the websites or through the browser extensions. Either way, but they'll always help you either create or improve your ability to make great titles, okay? That's a great comment. It's like getting pants from your brother. Yeah, right. Exactly. Hand-me-downs. They don't fit. You know, you want something that's really built to fit that that particular person you're building it for, not just generically making something and hoping, you know, it works for who you're trying to reach. So in this case, I want to show you some of these. I do have these installed for anyone who has never installed a browser extension. Most of these are pretty simple. I'm using Google Chrome, my browser. I'm on PC and I'm using Google Chrome. And most of the times what you can do is if you go all the way up to that 3-dot ellipsis way in the upper right, and it gives you that drop-down menu, you can go down to extensions and you'll see what it'll do is you'll have an option to manage extensions. And these are all the extensions that I currently have on this browser, right? That's what this is. So there's different extensions that you can turn on and you can turn off. I have different ones. Some of these are StreamYard. Some of these are things like TubeBuddy. I've got TubeSpanner. And if you're ever trying to find one of these browser extensions, you'll see there's a big search bar up at the top and you can type in what it is you might be looking at. Let's say TubeSpanner, and it'll give you the results. So if you're looking for one of these in a browser extension to have them inside of YouTube, just make sure that the browser that you're using is supported by that particular extension, and then use the search bar to go find it. Again, I'm a fan of Google Chrome. I think it's fairly stable and it works well. And then you can install it. If you have it, you can, you'll know you have it. If you need it, you can then install it. So that's what's going on right here today. So here we are looking at, think about if you had just uploaded a video onto YouTube. Here we are looking at the details page. This is where you would have to fill in the title, which is mandatory, which is why it's in red, like, hey, you haven't put a title. You have to put a title. That's required by YouTube. Description isn't required, but you can obviously, we've talked about in the past why descriptions can be really important, but we're focused on titles today. So let's say we're working on a video. I want one of you guys, I want to use you guys from this audience as an example. I want to be able to help you build your next video title. So let's do this. The way I want to do this is if you have a channel and you have an idea, you have an idea for a video coming up, do me a favor, put in the chat, start with a Q. It's just a question. It lets us know that you want to be heard. Tell me the video that you're working on that you have no idea what the title should be, or something that maybe you've worked on and you need help with. Put Q and say, tell me about your video. Tell me what it's about. And let's see live if we can use some of these tools to help you build strong, compelling titles that might do a better job at connecting with the people you're trying to reach. Drop them right in the chat. I've got Megan here. Megan, introduce yourself to this wonderful audience.
Hello. I don't know how to introduce myself, but I'm Megan. Hello.
You did a great job. Megan is my channel office manager, and she's always here to help out. And she moderates the chat. She's always in there paying attention. And she'll make sure that if you have something that you've posted in there, we can pull up there. So think about that. If you've got a video, you're like, oh, I'm thinking about making a video, and just give me an idea of what it is your channel's about and the next video you're thinking about. Or one that you've worked on that you think the title just isn't working right now and you're trying to figure out a way to make a better title. And let's do this in real time so I can actually show you the tools in real world situations with different niches, different creators who may not all be creators like me, because I want to make sure that we understand how to do this for all niches, not just the one I'm in. I'm what we call a utility resource channel. I help people learn how to make better content, learn to edit that content, put it onto YouTube, and grow a YouTube channel. That's a utility resource channel. People come to me almost like a how-to, how to learn something, but not every channel is that way. Some are entertainment channels, some are music channels, some, you name it. There's always different types of channels out there that don't fall into one niche. Gaming channels, and you want to figure out how to build titles and packaging that get people to click. So we want to learn how to make strong titles on your videos, your live streams, your shorts, and even the way you build your community posts to grab people right off the bat. And this also extends to places like social media. Anyone who's ever had to build a Facebook post or a Twitter post or an Instagram post, knowing how to start with a very strong, compelling bit of text, which people are reading, is the thing that's going to grab people. Text-based social media can really be enhanced by understanding language that stops people in their tracks and gets them to read, catches their eye. So let me go back to the chat here. I want to see if we have anyone here. Okay, let me see. I'm gonna just, can I pick one, Megan? Am I allowed to do that? We got a lot of cues.
There's a ton of great ones. Go
There's
for
a
it.
lot of good ones. Is there anyone you like? I'm just going to pick one randomly. So we got Cooking the Weeds, right? And this is best way. He's asking a simple question. What if I had a video that was based upon, he's a cooking channel, best way to cook filet mignon. All right. So what I'm going to do is all right. Great question, right? Great question. Let me do this. Let me pull up. This is a blank video that I'd use. It's an unlisted video. I was showing something to do a video editing trick, and I've deleted the title. So ignore the thumbnail, right? Ignore the picture of the house. But let's say this is your video. You could do exactly what he just said, right? Let's type that in. Best way to cook filet mignon, M-I-G-N-O-N. I'll make sure I spell that right. All right. If I put that in, can you all see? I want to make sure you can read this okay. Can everyone see this okay? Can you, is it visible to you? I can always pull up a giant tube spanner magnifying glass. Best way to cook filet mignon. Now, when I type this in, because I have these extensions already installed, in the upper right, you will see, and they overlap a little bit because I have two going on at once, the title inspiration from Tube Spanner and that recycle circle by the Headline Co-Scheduler. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to click on that recycle blue circle and watch what happens. If I click on that recycle, you see on the right, this is going to open up a scorecard and it's going to analyze what I have put in for a title right inside of the YouTube details page of this video. All right. And it's saying, hey, you know, you got a 59. That's a 59. And it's giving us some editing tips. It's giving us some best practices tips. YouTube has a title limit of 100 characters, but the best characters, titles are around 60 to 70, 10 to 12 words. Yeah, maybe, you know, I believe some of it, but I like the scoring idea. Give me a hint. Does this work? Best way to cook filet mignon? Like, that's a really simple idea, but is it a title? Is it a compelling title? One of the things that I can do is, based on that, is I can then go, and if you see I have the title inspiration right up in the title, that's the Tube Spanner tool. I can go, let me click on that. Let me click on the title inspiration. It's going to read this. Let me close this down. It's going to read that and say, okay, well, you said your title was best way to cook filet mignon. Who's the target audience? Let me type in aspiring home cooks. I want to give Tube Spanner an idea of who I'm trying to reach with this idea of the best way to cook filet mignon. And I can click generate titles. And what Tube Spanner will then do is use AI to try to give me a more compelling title, right? Here it went with, instead of saying best way to cook filet mignon, it said master filet mignon cooking at home. Because I told it, well, I'm trying to reach home cooks, right? And I could change that, right? I could change that to, well, maybe it's people who have no time to cook at home. And maybe let's see if I'll generate another title. Quick and easy filet mignon recipe for busy home cooks. Do you see how it modified based on who I defined the audience as? And this is all one of these things that I've always said. Before we go any farther, I need to make this absolutely clear. Tools are only as good as the hands that they are in, all right? A hammer is a great tool. Saws are a great tool. But if you're not a strong builder, the tools are going to be less effective. So learning to use tools and learning to understand who we're trying to reach is always going to make these tools better, because you've learned how to use them and how to understand how the effective way to use them is. So one of the things I'm doing here today is, and the reason I want to spend time here with you, is not only showing you tools, but thinking about the best ways to use these tools so that you tomorrow can download these things tonight, start using them, and start improving the titles that you're building to reach more people with your content, okay? So, okay, we've already got a better title. Quick and easy filet mignon recipes for busy home cooks. I'm going to click, this is the great thing I like about TubeSpanner. If I just click on that, it automatically inserts it into my title of my details page. I didn't have to copy, I didn't have to paste. I just started putting in some information and it put it right up there. It's now up there. And we know, looking at the previous title, that was just a topic, right? That was like best way to cook filet mignon. I had a previous score. The thing I like about the headline co-scheduler, it holds onto your score. Your previous title score was 59. Not a great score, not really compelling. Doesn't do things to really entice that audience, right? So for you, I would say, well, let's recycle. Let me click on that 59 again. What it's going to do, it's going to pull this up and it's going to reassess based on the new title we've built. And let's see if we've done any better. 71. Right? 71. And you can even scroll down and it'll start telling you reasons why that's a stronger, the word count, the character count, how many characters in that, word balance. It'll tell you stuff like, it'll start breaking down some of these words and tell you which are they power words? Are they emotional words? Are they common words? So all that stuff we're seeing over here on the right is that headline co-scheduler doing a deeper dive into not only if they think that title might be better, but why it might be better. And when we can start improving the score of that, now we start seeing, wow, quick and easy might be better than the original one, which is how to cook a, filet mignon at home. So the idea of, as you can see here, we've just improved on that in a way that made words that make a lot of sense to the target audience. Quick, and not even the word and, the ampersand. Why is that better? Because an ampersand is a single character. The ampersand is that weird backward S logo, right? That means and, that people know means and, but it only takes up one character in your title. So knowing that some of the titles are going to be truncated or cut off depending on when people find them, making sure that the stuff that they do see before it gets cut off really sells that thing and makes it and makes it easy for the viewer to understand. Truncation, super important, right? Here we go. Quick and easy filet mignon. That recipe, that will not get truncated in any traffic source. But then it says for busy home cooks, right? Or you could change that any way you want. You could take that to a new level, right? Because it might be, maybe the audience you're trying to reach are, you're a home cook. I like that. And it got a good score. It got us 71. So for me, I'm always trying to build something that makes sense for the target audience. And I'm trying to define them, okay? Define who they are. And here's something that I don't think enough people talk about. I think that people think, well, Daniel, any title, all you had to put is filet mignon in there and it would be great. And you'd be fine. It's not about the title, it's about the thumbnail, right? That's the lie I think we've been told. Can you imagine if your whole thumbnail, what if you didn't put a thumbnail, you just put a block, I'm just going to leave it one color. I'll make it white. I'm just going to put a big block of white. I'm gonna put a big block of black. Anyone in here, thumbs up, thumbs down? Anyone think that a giant block of a single color would be a good thumbnail? Tell me in the comments right now. I want to make sure I'm hearing you and I'm watching the questions. I'm going to get to as many as possible. Tell me, thumbs up or thumbs down. Do you think just taking a thumbnail and making it a giant block of color is a good thumbnail? Thumbs up, or a bad thumbnail? Thumbs down. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Tell me what you think. Because I really want to get down into the discussion of this. Let me see. And there's a question here. What I'm showing, is this part of the free version of the tools? Everything I'm showing you right now is available as free, right? I have subscriptions to these two tools, but what I'm showing you is all free available. So yes, absolutely. The extension is free, and the for both TubeSpanner and Headline Co-Schedule. They do on a website version, they limit them. but you can start using these today. And then they have programs where you can expand, you get more accessibility to some of these things. So they do expand, but I'm focusing on what stuff that you can download right now and start using immediately. So listen, I asked that simple question, is a giant block of color a good thumbnail? No. Moonsprout says, no, that's a bad idea. Why would you do that? Triathlon Coach John says, like, no, triple thumbs down. A giant block of color is nothing. It's useless. Nicole Unscripted says, no, Daniel, no. Straight out coming from Brown Eyed Girls, like, no, what are you thinking? Like a giant block of color. My pal Cyclone Sid, Paul says, no, like a giant block of color is not a great idea. What if I told you a giant block of color could drive millions of views? Could drive millions of views. What would you say? You'd probably look at me and go like, well, I don't understand. That's not what we've been taught. We've been taught the thumbnails need to be eye-catching and do all the, they have to be explosive and speak to the viewer. And they're right. They're absolutely right. They're absolutely right. Let me show you something. Let me show you something right here. This one at the very top. Can you see it? It's a giant block of yellow. It's a giant block of yellow. That's all it is. That's the thumbnail right there. That's the whole thumbnail. Why did this video get over 10 million views? I'll tell you why. Got over 22 million views. It was the title. The title said, "This is not yellow." And then the thumbnail was a giant block of yellow. And all these people underneath were trying to steal. This is all people trying to steal that success. Giant block of yellow, nothing but yellow. And the title, "This is not yellow." Challenging the viewer, right? Because packaging. What would one block of color actually get you to watch a video? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe, maybe not. But I'll tell you what, if it's got a great title to go with it, then it makes you rethink that. This was a great example from Vsauce. And the whole video, just so you quickly understand, was actually all about the way that in the RGB color scheme, the one we watched, the way you're seeing me right now on a video screen, there's no such thing as yellow. Yellow is a combination of like red, green, and blue in a way that makes you, by mixing things together, makes you think your eye, tricks your eye into seeing yellow. But yellow actually doesn't exist in that spectrum of what's visible and what can be presented. So it understands our mind. So that thing we were seeing actually wasn't yellow. There is no yellow to be presented. It's tricking our eye to think that what we're seeing is yellow. And that was the perfect title, right? Not like, just so they didn't make a title that said like, you know, in videos, when you're watching something on a computer screen or a mobile device, the yellow you see actually isn't yellow. He simplified it and made a giant block of yellow thumbnail and then said, "This is not yellow." 22 million views. 22 million views. Because the title is the thing that made people go, wait a minute. Of course that's yellow. I'm looking at it. That's yellow. How can that not be yellow? They read the title. And I think that's a perfect example of how important titles can be when you're building your content. All right. You really need to think about not just the thumbnail, but the title. What's going to bring them in? People read that magazine that you're sitting in the doctor's office or dentist's office. When you're flipping through it, the picture will stop you, sure, but it's the headline that gets you. It's the combination of the two, how they work together. That's the whole thing that we need to think about more often. How can we build a better title? Not just stuff it with things that we think somehow a search engine will find keywords. Forget that. Think about the viewer. Optimize for the viewer. How do we build in a way that gets them to go, wow, I'm scrolling on YouTube. What? What do you mean that's not yellow? That's yellow. How dare you say that's not yellow? I'm clicking and watching. 22 million views, right? Absolutely true, brown eyes girl. Words are like swords. They are. You know, there's an old adage about a picture's worth 1,000 words. I love thumbnails that don't have a lot of words in them because the image can tell a story. And I believe that there is a place for words, and those words they are like swords. They are very compelling. They can strike. And you have to make sure that you're really understanding how you're putting your titles together, right? We can totally change things. Oh, we do have we do have Tube Spanner in the house. If you have any questions, absolutely follow Tube Spanner channel. Glad to have them here following along with us. One of the tools I really like. I am not currently paid or sponsored by any of these tools. These are just tools I like. They're tools I use. You'll see me using the magnifying glass and like the sketch on screen tool a lot here on StreamYard because they're perfect companions to StreamYard. The thing I do like about Tube Spanner, actually, when you're setting up your stream for StreamYard users, this whole titling piece is part of their streamer extension tool. So when you're actually in StreamYard and you're setting up your live stream, it actually shows the title enhancer and it gives you title options right inside as you're building out the stream. So for live streamers who are trying to figure out the right title for their next live stream as they're building it, you will see the Tube Spanner extension right inside of StreamYard when you log into StreamYard. So I love tools that do this. I love tools that integrate with our natural workflow and make it easier. Make it easier for us to do this. So absolutely, links down in the description. Feel free to jump down there and go check them out or earmark them, bookmark them, put them aside so you can start trying these out yourself and let me know if they work for you. There's going to be more tools I'll be showing in the future because I love free tools. I love tools that make our lives easier. I'm going to go back up to the questions because I do want to find something. I want to make sure I hit as many as I possibly can. How we got here, Genealogy asks, I do weekly live streams where I answer questions. Love that. Love it. My question is, should I include live in the stream title and does it hurt to use the same title every week? I do change after stream. Okay, here's my take on live streams. I believe it depends on how you're building the live stream. If the only goal of the live stream is to engage with viewers while they're there, community building, you're going to sit there and you're going to talk to the audience and shout out your community, and it's all about the excitement of being live, and you absolutely do not want any views in the replay, then don't list the stream for replay and just take it down. And once it's there, unlist it, whatever. It was all about community building, right? Or leave it up there. You can leave it public, but don't ever expect it to keep driving views. Once the stream's over, you're done, right? That was the only goal, to engage people in that moment. I don't build that way. As you see by today's stream, my friend, right? I built in a way that I have a very specific thumbnail. I think I actually used it in the, it's in the branding here. So the thumbnail I used, as I talked about, it's me pointing at YouTube, right? This is great. I've tried to do the best I can to make it strong. Like, hey, let's talk about YouTube today. And then the title of the stream was very specific. Elevate your YouTube video titles with these free tools. So I wanted to make sure people were thinking, hey, when it comes to YouTube, you can really elevate your YouTube video titles with these free tools. And I wanted those to work together. I totally believe that you should build live streams for the audience you're trying to reach. If you're expecting to get some replay views, why do you need to say live? I mean, YouTube does a great job of letting people know when you're live. Everyone here watching along knows I'm live because they got a notification or they saw it and they wanted to join in or saw me posted somewhere or YouTube gave them a notification, whatever the case may be. People know when you're live. Do we need to scream live? I don't know. I think it's more important to talk about the conversation, right? Think about the conversation. Talk about what it is that you want to have the conversation around. Today's conversation, I want to really impress upon you how important titles are and give you tools that you can use right now to improve your titles. So that's the thing I'm going to put into the title, not live. Who cares? I'm live. And if you see this later on, then I'm not live. Then does that change the way you would have clicked on this video? I try to build. I don't want to constantly be changing. I try to build for the conversation, not to remind people what a live stream is. I think they know. It's like adding the word, watch my YouTube video. Like when I see people do that, it's like, you're on YouTube. We know we know where we are. We know what we're watching. So my personal take is build for the conversation, right? And if you want to have views in the replay, then build for that and don't have to keep changing things too many times to make that more complex than it needs to be. And let me keep going. I'm looking at all these cues. You guys got some great cues in here. Let me jump in. I'm scrolling. I'm always here. Megan, feel free to throw any of these in here that you saw that I might have missed along the way. It's a lot of reading for me. Here's a great one. I like this one. This is another what we would call utility or resource-based channel, right? Anthony Peters says, listen, I want to make a video about burger cheese tortilla. Now, first of all, you have to think about, well, what is, who's the target, what is it you're making and who's the target audience? All right. I'm going to look at this and you're going to say, hey, Daniel, that's me, Anthony. And I have this idea for a video. Great. I love the way you phrase this. You just told me the topic. I want to make a video about a burger cheese tortilla. How would I title that? Okay. Let's think about who we're trying to reach. Probably people who enjoy food, specifically Mexican food, because when you're making a tortilla, it's someone that a tortilla would appeal to. But this is different. It's a burger cheese tortilla. So it's like burger. I'm guessing, are you going to tell me that you're just going to put meat and cheese in a tortilla? Who's going to watch that? Where's the compelling element? What's going to get them to watch? So part of the reason I said earlier, you really want to think about your packaging before you're actually making the video. Flesh it out. Flesh this thing out. Like why would I watch a burger cheese tortilla? I've had plenty of tortillas that have some meat and cheese in them. What's going to make you stand out? Well, I'm thinking about what the angle is. Well, maybe the angle is that it's not just a burger cheese tortilla. What's a famous burger? Megan, help me out here. What's a famous burger out there that people would relate to?
A Juicy Lucy.
What's a Juicy Lucy?
That's from Minnesota. It's where it's like burger, cheese in the middle, burger.
Really? All right, Juicy Lucy. Maybe that's it, right? Maybe there's a burger. Let's go a little broader. Let's go more top of the funnel, because I'm not from Minnesota. What's another burger, Megan, that people, if I said burger, what's a famous burger that people would relate to?
Big Mac.
Big Mac. All right, let's go with Big Mac. So maybe instead of burger cheese tortilla, this is going to be cool because it's going to be a Big Mac. It's going to be a Big Mac tortilla, right? So it's burger cheese, but a Big Mac. It's got burger, that's got cheese, but it's going to have a flavor that people relate to. So one of the things I would do is when I talk to you about using tools effectively, make sure you start understanding what might be compelling. Don't just go, I'm just going to make a video about the new iPhone and expect magic from tools. You need to start thinking about your strategy and what's your angle. I would say, what's your angle on this? Well, it's a tortilla and it's going to be burger and cheese. Well, can you do one that's like a burger that people will relate to and not expect a tortilla to taste like a Big Mac? Now we can build something. So let me do this. Let me pull open my dummy video here, and because it's a dummy who made it. And let's change it. Let's say, I'm going to say Big Mac. It was a tortilla, right? So let's say, I just changed my spacing. Let me do Big Mac tortilla. So that I can, at least I have a starting point and I can say, okay, if I know there's a Big Mac tortilla, then I'll have a jumping off point. So I put Big Mac tortilla up into the title space of my video on the details page. And I'm going to click on the headline co-scheduler just to get a score. I want to see if is that enough? As it slowly does its thing. 47. It gives me a 47. The reason is it's too flat. There's no compelling elements, right? It doesn't tell me what we're doing. It's just saying Big Mac tortilla. It's like a box that I put a label on. You guys have heard me talk about this before. Moving day strategy. When you're like moving from your house and you try to pack everything up and you put your dishes, your good china into a box and you wrap them in paper, make sure they don't get broken, and you tape the box shut and you write on the box, fine china. That's not anything that's compelling. It's just a box designed for you to know what it is, but it doesn't compel anybody to want to be interested in what's actually in that box or even try to buy it. If you were trying to sell it, you would take it out of the box and you would give a much more wordy description of what it was. So we don't like Big Mac tortilla. So let's close that out and let's go, well, let's use Tube Spanner's title inspiration and see if it gives us anything, right? Big Mac tortilla. This is Big Mac plus tortilla equals yum. Right? Kind of compelling. I kind of dig, people who cook at home. All right, I'm going to see quick Big Mac wrap recipe. Can you see these okay? Can everybody see? Let me see if I can do my magnifier on top. I've never tried these tools together. Yes, I can. Quick Big Mac wrap recipe. So the idea being, I'm still filtering this by people who have no time to cook at home. Maybe that's a bad filter, right? So let me change the filter to people who I'm going to do home cooks who are looking for new and interesting recipes, right? like someone who might like, I don't want the same old tortilla. How can I make a better one? I'll hit enter and let's see what it does. Let me generate titles from Big Mac tortilla. Revamp dinner, Big Mac tortilla twist. I think it's a little simple, but you gotta remember it's using AI to pull this up. I like the idea of revamp dinner. And a lot of times what we can do is use these, always don't just rely on the tool. Start working from that. I like the idea, not just revamp dinner, but when we think about like a tortilla, like that's kind of a boring, simple, everyone's seen it. So how about revamp your boring, I'm gonna put that in big letters, dinner. And then put, and I'm gonna see if I can change this to, let me try doing like the Big Mac tortilla. And I'm just going to try that. I'm just going to see, and I'm going to look for a score. Oh, let me see. Did I change it? I used my own brain along there. I liked where it prompted me. And then I'm going to see, let me just see what this gives me for a score. Again, not every score is going to be perfect. We was just thinking about how to build a better title. I got 57. It's better, but it seems to be missing some of the things that could really, it can do word count and word balance and give me some types of like some of the words that could be more emotional or could do better things. How about tired? I'm wondering if you're bored. How about tired of boring dinners? And let me put, question mark. I'm thinking like that viewer. Try this delicious, if I can spell delicious, try this delicious, did I spell that right? Delicious, I missed an I. I will get that. Spelling, yeah, you're working with an idiot with way too much hair. Better at talking, less at spelling. All right, try this delicious Big Mac tortilla. So tired of boring dinners? And let's see if that helps us. I'm trying to think like the viewer, right? Maybe they've just been sitting at home and like, oh, I'm so bored of making the same old. Oh, I got to keep, did I use my credits? Oh, this one is credits because I'm using credits on it. Don't worry, we can change that. But I'm trying to see, is that a better title? And can I get more out of that? Trying to level up some of these things. One of the things is like Tube Spanner down in the lower right is giving us a readability score. So we're seeing down here, like, is it too long? Is it hard to read? These are all AI prompts. They're helping us figure out a better way to make these titles. So maybe doing something like that, tired of boring dinners, try this delicious Big Mac tortilla. Maybe it's Big Mac tortilla. Maybe I add recipe. Can give me a better, can give me if I can spell recipe, can give me a better idea of what I might want to do. I gotta upgrade for more because I'm not using enough credits right now. This particular one gives you so many free ones and then I have to pay for more. So that might be a better way to approach. And I can still use Tube Spanner to go like, does that work? Let me give a title inspiration and then get, a better idea using tired of boring dinners. Try this delicious Big Mac tortilla recipe that I spelled wrong. Swap dull meals for this yummy Big Mac tortilla recipe. If I don't like that one, I can hit generate titles again and go, all right, let me see. I got to reset this one. I'm going to get the same one. There we go. Transform your meals. Make this yummy Big Mac tortilla recipe. You can keep changing and trying to build something that makes more sense for the viewer. Makes a better, a compelling title that your viewer might actually connect with. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to you, right? So you see how these tools are just helping us decide how to come up with a better title. But I do want to show you another tool. One of the things you want to think about, like, look at this. Maybe I like this horribly spelled, tired of boring dinners, try this delicious Big Mac recipe. Let me show you another tool. There's another tool out there that if it's actually just a website, and you can find it by typing YouTube title checker. And I'll put this one into the description as well. The one that I like is from Social Video Plaza. And what Social Video Plaza does Let me just turn off my banner right here quickly so you can see it. It takes, what you have to understand, people, let me make this clear. When you build a video title, the way that it's presented is not always presented the same to different people. If someone is watching your video from their mobile device, right? They're just on their mobile device and they're trying to get stuff done. They'll see a certain amount of characters, even though YouTube, I think, allows up to 150, up to, I think, maximum of characters. They'll get cut off at some point. And I think you guys have seen this where the title goes, it gets cut off and it's like ... One of the things you want to be aware of, again, that's what we talked about, is that truncation. Will that title get cut off so they can't read all of the words if it's presented to them in search if they're on a phone? The truncation points are different by traffic source, meaning did you find it in browse? Did you open up YouTube on the YouTube homepage where it was listing all these videos and you were scrolling? Or did you find it in search? Or did you find it in suggested? You were watching another video and it was on the side and there was another video there. And were you watching suggested on mobile, or were you on desktop, or were you on a television and you're watching television and it came up as an end screen? All these different points of traffic will display the titles different. And even though it allows this, a certain amount of fixed characters that you can put in your title, they often won't all display the exact same amount of that title, depending on where the viewer sees it and what the traffic source was. So this is another great free tool that you can just type in. This one's called the socialvideoplaza.com. It's their video title checker. And I usually just find it by Googling YouTube video title checker. I will put this link down there in the description too, to make sure that this is here. And it gives you the ability to just take your title. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. Let me go a little, this is small. Okay. And it says check video title length, right? That's all it's saying to me. It's like, hey, you got a video title? Here you can check your video title length, and it's just enter your video title or description, whatever you want to check for length. And I'm going to use the video title we just created. I'm going to put it in here, which was, as you guys remember, was, hey, tired of boring dinners? Try this delicious, did I spell it right? Big Mac tortilla recipe. Okay, that's your title. But now what you want to understand is, well, is that going to get cut off? So all you do is you just have to hit count. That's this big, if you, let me click this quickly so I can destroy this. You hit this one count right there, right? You just click on that word count and it will count this. And then it will show you if and where that's getting truncated based on device and traffic source. It tells us right off the bat that this title has 69 characters. How many characters in the title? There are 69. But if it is viewed from the YouTube homepage desktop, it's going to be truncated. All right. It's going to be truncated. And it says, it tells me there will be truncation after, and it tells me how many too. It says, because there are 69 characters, above 65 will be truncated if someone sees it on YouTube's homepage desktop, which is something that you can go, okay, so wait a minute, what am I losing? I'm losing the last 4. I'm going to be seeing in my tired of boring dinners, try this delicious Big Mac tortilla. I'm going to lose a few of the letters from recipe. I think most of it's still there. It's still pretty good. So I don't freak out over that. I go, oh, that's still pretty good. And I can look at things like, well, what if it's found on the YouTube homepage, but not from desktop, but from the homepage on mobile, if you're on your mobile device? Well, that truncates after 60 characters, right? Desktop, we saw 5 more, but from the mobile device, it's only 60. So now you're going to go, well, it's 69. It says that my title is 69. They're only going to see 60. And I can think about, well, let me go back. Am I losing 9? What am I going to lose 9? If I look at this and I say, well, what am I actually losing here? I'm going to lose most of the word recipe. I'll probably see try this delicious Big Mac tortilla, and then I'll probably lose part of tortilla and the full word recipe. If that's okay, if you say to yourself, I think that enough of it is visible that my point gets across, and I think that truncation is important. Then try to make sure what's important happens before the truncation, okay? Before things get cut off, because in that way you can better understand how to build that and go, oh, the word Big Mac gets cut off and I need people to understand this is a Big Mac tortilla. Maybe I need to move that to the front and keep that front loaded with the important things that'll get people clicking and get them excited about what they're reading, because that title is going to be super important. Let me go back to the chat here. I'm skipping over a lot of stuff. I want to make sure I've got everyone covered as much as possible in the short amount of time that we have. I absolutely agree. Please like and share. I appreciate that, my friend. From Life on YouTube and Twitter X. Twitter X. What are we calling it now? Twixter? Twitter X? That place? I'm hungry now too when we start talking about these things. Now I want a Big Mac tortilla. Later on, everybody come over to my house. We're all having Big Mac tortillas on me. I'm jumping through some of this to make sure I can catch as many as possible. There are questions in here. Megan, feel free to throw anything up here that I may have missed.
Can I pick one?
Yes, absolutely. Please do.
All right, because I am dying to get my bike out, I'm going with one from the beginning. T. Ryan learned.
Oh, you gotta hold that down. What is it? Okay, my video will be about how to clean the inside of a motorcycle gas tank using nothing but household materials like vinegar and baking soda, not expensive caustic chemicals. I love how focused this is. Like, right, like you're like, listen, I don't know how to compress this into a title yet, but I know the value. It's about cleaning the inside of your gas tank, right? Using common household materials like baking soda and vinegar, things that you already might have on hand, and not expensive and caustic chemicals. You've got a lot of great pieces. I'm going to quickly go up here and I'm just going to try to see if we can come up with something that I think is solid. Leave this up here. Don't pull that down. One of the things you want to think about is you can take a lot of this and let the AI do the heavy lifting. I'm not even going to try to simplify. I'm going to go clean. This is going to be a lot of words and it's probably going to because they're only going to allow me so many characters. Clean inside of motorcycle gas tank with common household. Now this is really long, right? Materials, not expensive. I'm going deep. Caustic chemicals. Okay. I'm at 99 characters here. I've just simplified what you said, right? I'm going to click on the title inspiration and see if it can give us, let's make sure we qualify who it is we're trying to reach on TubeSpanner. And in TubeSpanner, we're saying, well, who are these people? These are motorcycle enthusiasts and a bit of a DIY, right? Because they want to do it themselves. Not like, oh, I'll send it off to the shop. So let's do DIY motorcycle enthusiast. So we give TubeSpanner and the AI a better idea of who we're trying to reach, and they'll start trying to tailor that title. And we can change this to people this might better serve their needs. Let's hit generate titles. This is DIY motorcycle tank cleaning with household items, not harsh chemicals. A little too straightforward. I don't love it. Let me regenerate. Let's see what it does. DIY, clean motorcycle gas tank using household items. It's really simple. Part of this is I want to see if we can get it condensed it nicely, but I'm going to keep moving towards maybe DIY is the wrong prompt. Motorcycle enthusiasts. I'm just going to do I'm going to remove the DIY and I'm going to see what kind of ditch costly chemical. This is kind of nice. I'm going to start here. It gave me my video will be about how to clean the inside of a motorcycle gas tank using nothing but common household materials like vinegar and baking soda, not expensive caustic chemicals. TubeSpanner helped me narrow that down to ditch costly chemicals, DIY motorcycle cleaning at home. I love the idea of this. Is it there? Is it all of it? I kind of like, I'm always looking for how I can really catch the viewer's eye. And one of the other things I want to talk to you guys about is when you're building, did I lose my camera? Did I lose my feed? Oh, I seem to have lost my feed here. When you're building these things out, think about how you can do things that make a lot more sense. Let me just make sure I'm pulling these things out of here and pull that out of there. Okay. When you're thinking about how to build out your title, consider that some of these things you really want to make sure that it reaches those people in a way that speak to them on a level that they can relate to. What are the points? What are the things that get them excited? Well, they might be excited about, they care more about the costly chemicals. So if that's the thing that you think might be important, then lean into that and say, I don't want us to buy all these costly chemicals. Like, think about the word chemicals might trigger someone. The cost of them, right? We've now got it down to 3 words. Ditch costly chemicals. I don't know if I love DIY, motorcycle tank cleaning at home. I would probably change the second half and say something to the effect of maybe cleaning your motorcycle, because I think DIY is less important. Clean your motorcycle tank with these household items. And maybe that's where I go. Is it a little long? Now the question becomes, like, I can put this back into Tube Spanner, and then I can have it regenerate, right? Ditch costly chemicals, and it cuts it down to cut costs, clean your bike tank with everyday items. I like everyday items. Oh, this is good. This is good. I like the original part. Ditch costly chemicals, right? Now I'm learning from the tool. I'm working with the tool. Ditch costly chemicals. But I like the second half. Clean your bike tank with everyday items. That's so much better, right? So I'm going to go, wait a minute. I'm just going to copy that second half. I want to hold on. I'm going to change the first half to ditch costly chemicals. Clean your bike tank with everyday item. Now, see how much better this is? Your question was, how do we have this long sentence that expresses this? Ditch costly chemicals, clean your bike tank with everyday items. And you might want to say, is it bike? Maybe it's motorcycle? Depends on how specific you want to be. Clean your motorcycle. If I can spell motorcycle, Daniel. Motorcycle tank with everyday items. Think about how think about how you're going to use punctuation. Maybe it isn't a colon. Maybe it's an exclamation mark. Ditch costly chemicals, or maybe you don't need that first part. Maybe it could be just clean your motorcycle, clean your motorcycle tank with everyday items. I like ditching the costly chemicals. I think you could even capitalize and go ditch costly chemicals. That might resonate with people, because they're like, well, I hate the chemical part. I hate using all those expensive chemicals and doing all that thing. I think that's something that really can connect. So if I were going to go with this one, this might be the answer for you. Ditch, let's get it nice up so you can actually read it. Ditch costly chemicals, clean your motorcycle tank with everyday items. That really starts bringing around exactly what we're trying to do. Exactly what we're trying to reach with those people is thinking about what's important to them. Is it the cost of the chemicals, or is it the chemicals themselves that they think are caustic, right? Maybe you don't even use the word costly, but it might be, is it the expense, or is it the fact that they're kind of hard to work with? Maybe it's ditch caustic chemicals, clean your motorcycle tank with everyday household items, and then start thinking about using these tools to better understand the audience, restructure, and don't expect the tool to do everything. Always be doing exactly what we're doing here today. Rephrase it, wordsmith it. And the great thing about YouTube is, if a title's not working, you can always change it. You can re-optimize that video. You can say, you know what, I worked really hard on that, and then I put the video out, and it's not doing really great. But exactly where we are right now, if this video was already published, if I were out and this video was right now published and it was actually live, I could go back in and go, maybe I went with, maybe I said, caustic was, I like the idea of being a little more green, stuff that's not dangerous and hurts your eyes and horrible to work with. I actually like the word caustic better. If for some reason this didn't work, and I think that's a pretty good title, ditch caustic chemicals, clean your motorcycle tank with everyday items. And I would probably go maybe with, maybe not every day, maybe it's, maybe it's household, household items, or maybe it's everyday household items. It could be a combination of the two. That I go everyday household items, and I'm trying to really build, again, remember sitting in the waiting room at the dentist's office or the doctor's office, you open up the motorcycle magazine because that's something you're interested in, you start flipping through the pages, and then you see an article that is talking about how to clean your motorcycle tank without all those caustic, expensive chemicals, and you can do it with everyday household items. And think about how to develop that title, that headline. And then when you go to make the thumbnail, this is one of the things I love. If you know your title, it's so much easier to build a thumbnail, because if you know it's ditch caustic chemicals, clean your motorcycle tank with everyday household items, it's like, you can think of 1,000 ways to do that. You want to see like the motorcycle tank, and you might go, it's a motorcycle tank and you're holding up a bottle, but then the bottle's maybe blurred out and you got an arrow saying like, try, and it's going like, use this instead. And it's like, what is happening here? Or you're like, maybe you're ditching the caustic chemicals where you're like, show someone like, what's the pain point? Someone goes, yeah, if you have to clean that, it's like, you got to use these expensive chemicals that are no good and they make you choke and you got to wear a mask. Maybe put a mask on and you be in there with on a motorcycle cleaning and the fumes are coming out. Think about the imagery. So if you know your title, it then makes the ability to build a thumbnail so much easier, because you're going to want them to work together, right? Picture's worth 1,000 words. If you know the words it's supposed to represent, which is your title, it makes it a lot easier to build that connection out. A lot simpler. Listen, we went a little longer than I wanted to. I hope this was helpful. I'm going to leave links to all these tools down in the description below. If you have any questions, please use the comments section of this video to ask them. I always am here on any videos we do on any of the StreamYard channels to make sure that I'm here for things that you might be confused about or have problems with. Absolutely use the comments section to ask those questions. Thank you very much to StreamYard for letting us be here and do this thing that we do every month. We love it. If you haven't tried StreamYard, if you want to do live streams just like I've done here, putting things up on screen, displays, absolutely down below, right at the very top, I have a link where you can start live streaming using StreamYard now for free. They offer up to 20 hours of live streaming every single month for absolutely free. Speaking of free, the best free tool for doing things on YouTube, especially live streaming, is StreamYard. So give it a whirl if you haven't tried it yet, and I will see you guys this time next month. Have a great day. Peace.